Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. It's time for part 2 of the Monday Q&A, so let's get to those questions. What is your take on sports massage? I think sports massage, particularly for people who do a large amount of training, like most athletes do. Now, most recreational lifters don't, but most athletes do, and I think they're a valuable recovery tool for them. Now, the thing you've got to remember with sports massage is that it may not be a cost-effective recovery tool for most of you. If you're a college level athlete, you've got the funds, you're trying to go pro, you're a pro athlete, you've got the money for sports massages regularly. Because going in and getting something like this done once every 6 weeks, recovering a little faster once every 6 weeks is not going to do anything for you for the most part. And sports massage done correctly isn't comfortable. It's not something you do for fun and relaxation. It hurts if it's done correctly. And that's okay because you want it to. But if you can afford it and you are a serious athlete, I think it's a valuable recovery tool to go and get done once or twice a week. But infrequent use of it probably isn't useful, and for a lot of people it's not cost effective. If you're on a tight budget and you're having to pay $50, $60, maybe at worst $100 for a proper sports massage session, it's just not feasible for you to go and get that done once or twice a week. So it just comes down to balancing out your personal finances versus the recovery benefits, because they're not massive recovery benefits, but they are there. And it's enough there that if your paycheck is riding on your performance and your recovery, yeah, you damn well better get it done. All right, next question. How big of an effect does stress-induced cortisol have on metabolic rate? Not from training, but rather too much real life. Yeah, this is a tricky one. It's people have tried to dub cortisol a fat storage hormone, and that's complete horse shit. Cortisol in and of itself, elevated cortisol, we know for a fact causes liberation of fatty acids from fat tissue, but it also causes the breakdown of tissue proteins, and tissue proteins are mostly in your muscle tissue for extra glucose. So it actually causes the release of fuel from the body. It can increase metabolism. However, it can be catabolic when it goes too high. Your other issue is that really high cortisol levels from large amounts of stress, when it's getting up near the top of the normal range or outside the normal range, can have other negative effects. Yeah, it might help you to lose weight, but one, it can affect hormones in a way that makes you eat more. A lot of people, when they're stressed, they eat more, so it can increase metabolic rate slightly, but if you don't eat when you're stressed, you're going to lose weight. It may not be all good weight that you lose, but if you're an overeater, it might cause you to eat more and gain weight in spite of the increased metabolic rate. And the other thing to consider is that cortisol outside of the normal range, and this is something I experienced personally because my body overproduces cortisol. It can drive testosterone levels down, and it can reduce insulin sensitivity, so it can cause everything from low testosterone to hypoglycemia if your levels are chronically elevated. So it's not a good thing in spite of the effect on metabolism. Also, elevated cortisol can make you retain more water weight, which is a good or a bad thing depending on what you're trying to do. So it's not a straightforward elevated cortisol only does X or Y. It depends on how it's elevated, how much, how long, how chronic it is. It can have a lot of negative effects in spite of the fact that it might actually increase your total energy turnover. All right, next question. Have you ever considered opening your own gym or athletic facility and coaching? Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think when I see like what Elliot Hulse has done with his, that's the type of dream that I would have in the long term. Right now, that isn't something feasible for me, but there are definite possibilities that in the future I will probably come into significant amounts of money at some point. And if that happens, yeah, that would be high on my priority list to do something like what Elliot Hulse has done. But it's just not something to open my own facility isn't really feasible, at least in the next couple of years. Long term, it's something I would love to do. An athletic facility, not a regular commercial gym where regular people can come in and train. An athletic facility maybe to where I allow certain groups of young athletes to come in once a week and work with them who aren't necessarily serious athletes, but it would be an athletic facility. If I ever did anything like that, I wouldn't want a regular commercial gym to where just Joe Average who doesn't really care about their training and they want to come in and fuck off can come in. That would never be welcome in a facility that I own. But yeah, it's something I've definitely thought about. Alright guys, so that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.